Of you for taking the time to be out here today with just 12 days to go in this election. I want to compliment everybody that was here a few years back. I've met a number of you that said you were there in the beginning when Roe had the guts to step up and step in and challenge an incumbent, which takes guts. It takes grit. It takes determination. It takes someone that has demonstrable talent and someone that by definition wants to lead. And I think we're living in a world desperate for leadership. And I got to tell you, the reason I'm here, the reason I'm back, the reason I'm so proud of Roe for his willingness to step back in this race and not give up after the last election is because he's a leader. He's the personification of the word leader. And we're living, I think, now in a time where a lot of us are good at advocating responsibility. We're good at pointing fingers. We're good at talking about the way the world should be. We're good at blaming others. Not enough of us are willing to take account to our relationship to the world we're living in and take account of the fact that we are our behaviors, right? There's that wonderful billboard. I don't know if you've been up to Seattle, Washington. They talk about it up in Seattle all the time. There's a billboard on what's the equivalent of the 101 here. A very congested freeway in Seattle. And it's a large billboard that has the following words on it. It says, "You are not stuck in traffic." Large block letters. One of the most congested freeways in the country. Large billboard says you're not stuck in traffic. And you're sitting there, you're rolling your eyes. And about 20 minutes later, you get about 50 yards closer to that billboard, and you start noticing there's some words underneath the billboard. And in parentheses, under the large letters, "You're not stuck in traffic," it says, "You are traffic." Right? Think about that, right? Back to my point. Society becomes how we behave. We are our behaviors. We are our broken system of governance. We are the problems in Washington, D.C. But we also are the antidote to those problems. We also are the solution to those problems if we change behaviors. And the spirit of this campaign is the spirit of change. The spirit of this campaign is about animating better behaviors. The spirit of this campaign is about people like yourselves stepping up, stepping in, leaning in the world and saying, you know what, I've got agency. My voice matters. I'm not a bystander in this world. I have the capacity to participate in it. I have the capacity to shape the future, not just to experience it, to manifest it. That's your opportunity. I would argue your obligation in 12 days from now to get out the vote, to not run the 90-yard dash on this election, to do everything we can to amplify the efforts of the last 4 years, not just, year and a half, and to make sure that we run a kind of race with the dignity and distinction that we all know Khanna demonstrates day in and day out as a person of character, a person of integrity, a person who gets it and gets it done. In a world where a lot of people may get it, but don't necessarily know how to get it done. He has been his whole life in the how business. He has been doing it all of his life. That's why he's here. He is someone that's able to translate his ideals and manifest them through action. So I'm here as a fan. I'm here as a supporter. I'm here as someone who's desperate to see this region get the kind of leadership it deserves, to see someone shake things up in Washington, D.C., and to see someone in Washington, D.C. that speaks the language of technology, understands that we're living in a world where the white waters of change are all around us, that understands this world's no longer connected but hyper-connected, who understands we're living in a hinge moment as it relates to demographics, to technology, a hinge moment as it relates to the economy, that understands that the future of work is changing in real time, that understands the cloud is not in the sky, that understands Twitter is not just a sound, that understands 4G's not just a parking space, that understands LinkedIn's not just a prison, that understands big data's not a rap star, that understands Skype's not just a typo, that understands the world we're living in, and is going to make the kind of change that this district deserves. Ladies and gentlemen, the next congressman of District 17.
The only negative thing about having Gavin Newsom come to a rally for you is you got to speak after him. Isn't he fantastic? Let's give him a round of applause. You know, I've long admired Gavin's career, and I am so excited about his future leadership for California. And the reason I have long admired him is what Tharun said. I mean, Gavin is someone who was for progressive politics before it became fashionable to be for progressive politics. Gavin predated the Bernie Sanders revolution. I mean, Gavin was talking about, he did. He was talking about marriage equality and LGBTQ rights and equality well before the Democratic Party was talking about it. He won't say that. They didn't even let him in the 2004 Democratic Convention. That's where the Democratic Party was, because they were afraid how his politics would play in the rest of the country. Gavin was talking about universal preschool and making college tuition free and affordable well before it became part of the mainstream Democratic platform. And he was talking about the shootings in schools and the need to have safety when it comes to guns well before it was popular, and he's still leading on that issue out in front. Thank you for your leadership. So I am excited about Gavin's leadership for California in 2 years, because I believe that everything that's innovative and good about progressive politics, a lot of it starts here in California. A lot of it starts here at the Anza. And I'd like to have someone on the national platform pushing the envelope for our values, for California's values, and I know Gavin is going to do that. He's already doing that, and I can't wait for him to have the national stage and someone leading California and doing that for all of us. So I'm excited to be here at the Anza. This is where, for those of you who remember, Hoy and Linda and others, this is where we kicked off our campaign 4 years ago. Right here in the spots. It wasn't quite as much rain. Rena and Mahesh, maybe than 20 people when we kicked off. It's great to see so many more here today. But the campaign was based on two simple ideas. One was that we needed a politics that reflected the grassroots and the community, and not the politics that reflected the special interests and the Washington establishment. That's why we started a campaign not taking PAC money, not taking lobbyist money, one of several federal candidates to do that. We did that when we were at 3% in the polls. People said, he'll change when he's winning. Well, let me tell you, we're up in the polls. We're still not going to take PAC money and lobbyist money. When I get to Congress, I'm not going to do it. I told everyone, call on me to step down. This is a commitment, if I ever do, this is a commitment to change politics, to get special interest money out of politics, and it's possible because of the passion of people right here in this courtyard who've been knocking on doors, making phone calls, and showing how a campaign can win. And then we said, look, this is such a remarkable district, the only Asian majority district in the continental United States. You know, I joke around, it's the only district when you're campaigning and people will ask you, what is your view on Kashmir and the Diaoyu Island dispute and, Vietnam. I mean, it's a district that represents the globe. Where I met someone yesterday in Cupertino who traced her family roots back to the founding, the Mayflower, and her descendants are knocking precincts with folks who trace their heritage to the Indian independence movement, who traced their heritage to Hanson II, whose grandfather served in World War II for the Chinese. You know, it's a remarkable place. This is what America is going to look like 20 years from now. And, you know, my argument when I get to Congress is going to be very, very simple. There are two different visions of America. One vision is let's look inward, let's close our borders, let's not engage in the global economy, let's not accept diversity, let's be critical of Muslims or critical of Mexicans or critical of people who are gay or critical of immigrants. That's one vision. And we have a completely different vision here. Now let me tell you something. What our vision is doing, it's creating Apple, it's creating Google, it's creating innovation. You want to talk about American greatness, think about a world without this district. Think about a world where you didn't have Apple or Google or Facebook or Intel be American companies. We are doing it because we recognize that we want people from around the world, regardless of their background, regardless of their faith, to contribute, to innovate, to invent the future. Our district, and being a congressman from Silicon Valley, people will say, what do you want to do in politics? I say, I want to represent this district. I can't think, with all due respect to the future governor, I can't think of a better job than having the honor to represent Silicon Valley. To me, that's the greatest possible job one can have. And what I want to do is take these values, all of us, that all of us have believe in so deeply, and make the case that these are the values that should define California and define America in the 21st century. These are the values of our economic growth, and these are the values of the right way America should be built. So it's an honor, again, to have the Lieutenant Governor braving the rain. I said he's probably going to cancel. He still shows up. He's got all these other races, you know, Democrat and Republican, all the traditional races. He came because he knows, he believes in the future. He gets the importance of this vision, and I'm excited to partner with him. And I'm so excited that we have such a great turnout from all the leaders in this community, and also some of these students here. I did want to call on for a couple of words. Rod Sings. Is Rod still here? Rod is a former mayor of Cupertino, future mayor of Cupertino. He's running for my support, but he wanted to share a few of his insights about public transportation.
I do. I thank you very much. And Gavin, I want you to know that the Cupertino City Council needed your cause. Several of us came to your event early this year, and we were one of the first councils to stand up and support